By the end of this video, you're gonna learn how to generate power on your serves, volleys, and overheads. I learned these concepts working with Minnesota Twins baseball club, but the same principles apply to pickleball. Listening to something could be harder and more difficult to translate to the actual sport, so I'm gonna break it down step by step. But first, to do so, we gotta go to the field. Hey. Oh, I got it there. I want to give you a good analogy here. So obviously myself coming from baseball, I used to work for the Minnesota Twins. I used to play baseball, but it all relates, right? It's like the same in baseball when a pitcher is going to pitch. They're getting in their wind up or they're from the stretch. They're going here, they're loading up their lower body, they're throwing their hips, and then their upper body follows. And then everything, all that energy they developed comes out of their fingertips through the ball, 95, 100 miles an hour to the plate. So they're generating all that force from the lower body, just like we need to in pickleball. So like, let's look at this one more time, maybe in fast pace. Let's go through the whole wind up for you. I used to play this a little bit. Oh, I hit the ground. All right, here we go again. Obviously, I don't even own a baseball anymore, but just want to show you like a full wind up, what it looks like in full speed, how people generate force in baseball similar to pickleball. Ooh. So now from the side view, I really want you to, we're gonna slow this down for you. I want you to focus on me developing energy from the ground, throwing it with my hips, torso, and then finishing it with my hand. I'm gonna go from the stretch. I still got this thing. It's all the same. From here to pickleball, we create force in a serve and an overhead. We create force from the ground and we let it flow through the very last thing, which is our fingertips, out the paddle and then into the ball. Here, it's just a ball. I hit them. Now we want to marry those same exact concepts from the baseball analogy to the pickleball court. There's three main movements, shots, that are similar. And that's gonna be a serve, right? Like doing a serving motion. When I'm serving, I'm using the force from the ground up, transferring it through my hips, and then lastly out through my hands, whether it's open or closed stance, right? Like I'm gonna be there. I'm driving force from my lower body. When I'm performing overheads, the same concept applies, right? Like someone gives me a lob, I may open up, take a step back, my hips, my lower body, I throw my hips at the ball and then follow through with my upper body. I'm not a pickleball coach, so don't quote me on all of this, but I know movement, right? The last one is gonna be like volleys, right? Like, so if I'm doing volleys, whether I'm here or if I'm using a two-hand, like the force is driven from my lower body and then coming through my hips. And then finally, it finishes out through my hands, through the paddle, through the ball. The three where the kinetic chain is most important is always gonna be serves, volleys, and overheads. Where it doesn't really apply is gonna be dinks, right? Whether it's forehand, backhand, any kind of like soft movement, just right here, it's just driven from the shoulder, not the lower body, not as much as involved, right? It's a lot of hand, a lot of arm movement. The main thing that you wanna focus on is just not having energy leaks, right? Like no energy leak. You want the energy from the ground coming all the way out through the hand. I had an athlete recently just come to me and tell me that he felt a disconnect between his lower body and his upper body. And he asked me, what do I do to make them feel connected? How do I put the whole kinetic chain together? So I gave him a list of exercises, ones that are motor control, ones that are strengthening, and ones that are gonna help his movement as a whole. I can tell you all the exercises in the world. I need to show you the exercises. So let's go to the gym. Now it's time to put everything together. We want to learn how to use the ground to our advantage. We don't want any energy leaks. So I have 4 exercises that you can do to help you disassociate your lower body and your upper body, as well as put it all together. So our first exercise is going to be a standing disassociation. Looks weird, it's funny, but there's 2 parts of this exercise. So our first one, I usually coach by like a soft knee bend over like you're gonna hit a 5-iron, and then just cross your arms and put them over your chest. So I'll actually go this way. Feet, 5-iron, bent over, and then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna poke my butt out and then tuck it under. But all I'm gonna do is only use and rotate my pelvis. I'm gonna keep everything else still. So I'm trying to keep my torso, my lower body still by just popping out my pelvis and then tucking it under. Right now I'm training to see if I can rotate my pelvis without rotating my spine or my lower body. So just dump it up and dump it forward. Part 2 from this is very similar. I'm gonna try and rotate my torso without rotating my lower body. So we went this way. Now I'm gonna keep my pelvis still and rotate my torso. I'll exhale, as I rotate, going as far as possible. Just trying to see if can I do this without moving this. If I can disassociate the two, then I can put them together. So that's exercise number 1. Number 2 is very similar, a hip airplane, split stance. I'm gonna do the same concept, except this leg is gonna stay strong and firm, where I'm gonna rotate the pelvis, open as much as possible, and then rotate it around the femur. So I'm open, and then rotate it around. See how it like tucks under and like wraps around the leg, and then it opens up as far as possible. Here I'm stretching my adductors, working my glutes a little bit, but really I'm just trying to see how far can I open up, how far can I wrap around that leg. So that's exercise number 2. Number 3, so it gets tricky getting in here sometimes. I'll put it around my right shoulder, bands to my right, then I'm just gonna rotate 360 degrees, facing you again. Now, similar stance, quarter squat, soft knee bend. Now the band is pulling me this way, assisting me into rotation. I'm gonna keep my lower half still. I'm gonna exhale and let it do its thing, let it pull me. It's a good stretch. Now it's resisting me, and I'm gonna go as far as I can the other way. Exhale. So in this, like I said, it's pulling me into a deeper range of motion that I didn't have, and then I'm fighting it getting stronger in the other range of motion, right? So it's assisting me and resisting me, assisting me, resisting me. I'll typically do about 4 to 5 reps on all of those exercises on each side. So 4 to 5 reps, let it pull me, switch, do the other side. Same thing with the hip airplanes, same thing with the dissociation exercise. Now our last and 4th exercise, where we put it all together and actually see if we have any energy leaks, is a med ball scoop toss. So what this does is this actually takes all that energy and the mobility that we've learned and we've trained, and we're gonna put it all together here. So with a scoop toss, it's just like throwing a baseball, it's just like hitting an overhead or even just hitting a serve, right? It's gonna start from the ground up. I'm gonna get some force from the ground. I'm gonna load this ball on my back hip. I'm gonna throw it with my lower body, my hips, and then my hands follow. So feet, hips, core, hands, and then it's out. Energy is out. Let's show. I don't even have to go get it. Look at this. Again, load it up. Not my best throw. All right, last one. So just think, getting it from the ground, just like a serve, right? Just like you're hitting a serve, same thing. I wanna load up that back leg. My hands follow. That was nice. Everything comes from my hips and my legs, and then my hands follow. Those are 4 exercises that you can add into your program. Simple, easy exercises, but you have to be extremely detailed. You have to stay focused to detail, focus on your breath as you're doing it, so that you can not have any energy leaks. You want to put it all together so that your kinetic chain, you can hit better overheads, you can hit better serves, and you can have more power on your volleys.